Do you ever think to yourself, why did I say that? Or why didn't I speak up? Or where the heck did that thought come from? Why did that trigger me? Listen, we have a gazillion thoughts that are running through our minds all throughout the day, and sometimes throughout the night as well. Some we might be aware of, but most of the time, we're not aware of where those thoughts are coming from and how they are contributing to the results that we are getting in our lives. And yes, thoughts are powerful. So when you change your thoughts, you can change your life. But how? How do you do that when that doubt creeps up or that negative voice tends to show up and try and pull us back down, or when something or someone triggers you? Well, stay tuned, because I'm going to give you 3 steps that are going to help you lead yourself to achieving the dreams you've set for yourself. It's all coming up next. Welcome to Shift or Get Off the Pot, the podcast that helps you get out of your head and into action so you can make your dreams your reality. Let's get to it. Welcome to this Friday episode where I take a common theme from previous interviews, the last 2 interviews, and I expand on that theme. And today we are talking all about leadership, specifically leadership of self, because as you have probably heard, how you do one thing is how you do everything, which just means that the way you approach small daily tasks or situations creates these habits that then show up in the way you approach your life. So chances are, if your kitchen is cluttered, your car is probably cluttered. And likewise, your mind is cluttered. Or you might be somebody that speaks about how tough things are, how tiring it is, or how difficult things are. Well, chances are that language may be coming up repeatedly in most of your conversations. Or maybe conversely, you're the kind of person that shows up for yourself with a positive, I can do it, I got this attitude, good for me. Chances are then that you're that kind of person that shows up that way for others as well. You're encouraging them, inspiring them, talking them up. That's just what this episode is about. The importance of self-awareness, which is going to be crucial if you want to elevate your game and achieve your goals. You see, you have to understand your strengths as well as your weaknesses. You have to understand your values, your motives, have to understand your word choice. What are you saying to yourself? How are you showing up for yourself? What are you repeatedly talking about? What's running through your mind? Words hold an immense power in shaping our thoughts, our emotions, and ultimately our actions. If you think about it for a moment, words have the ability to send a message of love, right? They can inspire us. They can heal us. They can help transform us or help us to show up more positively, right? But they can also pull us down. They're a huge part of our self-awareness and our leadership, not only of ourselves, but others as well. That actually reminds me about this saying that was thrown around quite a bit when I was younger. Maybe you've heard this before. And it's a saying that is, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Have you ever heard that before? That's just crazy. That's crazy because it's so wrong, because words can definitely hurt you. And even though we may brush them aside and say, oh, I know, I heard that, but I'm just not going to pay any attention to it. Think about it. Sometimes those hurtful words have a way of creeping back up or creeping back into our mind, even if it's just for a moment. But they have a way of just kind of creeping back in there, and they can definitely just start pulling us down or keep us in sort of a holding pattern, preventing us from ever fully believing in ourselves, from ever fully going for it, and ever trying to truly tap into what we're really capable of. Your words are that powerful. In fact, this reminds me of a story of my youngest son. He would say things like, I can't reach it. I can't keep up. I can't jump that high. And my husband at the time and I would just think, why does he keep saying can't? It was driving us crazy. So my husband had this great idea to remove the word can't from the dictionary. If you went to the bookshelf right now in my house and you pulled out the dictionary, physically opened it up and looked to where the C's are, you would find out that there is no word can't in that dictionary. Brilliant. That's just brilliant. Because the fact is, my son could reach whatever it is that he wanted if he grabbed a chair or if he asked for some help. He simply chose not to. It wasn't a matter of can't. It was a matter of won't. How often do we tell ourselves that we can't do something even though we say we want whatever it is that we want? A healthier lifestyle, a great relationship, a big bank account, whatever it is. In all my work helping people get unstuck and maybe get going on their business or go after those bigger goals, those bigger commissions, get the structure in place to help them grow, the amount of times that I hear, I'm not sure. I don't know how. I don't have the credentials. I don't know as much. I don't have the time. Oh, I don't have somebody helping me with that financially. I'm not very outgoing. As if you have to be outgoing to be successful. Blah, 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 blah. All that mental crap, all those negative words. Psychologists tell us that we have far more negative thoughts than we do positive ones. It's just crazy. So we want to change that because all those negative words just pull us back to the familiar same old spot. And the reason why so many people feel frustrated and why you might be feeling frustrated right now in your life and trying to figure things out is because you know you're meant for more, but you get caught up in the excuses. And those words that are running through your mind are producing the results that you're living in your life right now. And we want to stop that. So that's going to stop now. It stops today because you see, life is far too short, just far too short to be paying any attention to all those negative Nellies that are running through your mind. Sorry if your name's Nellie. I read one time that phrase, actually it was Nervous Nellie, and that phrase referred to an anxious horse. Nellie was just a generic name for a horse, but it eventually morphed into Negative Nellie as well. So there you go. Just a little bit of word trivia or phrase trivia for you. But today, we're going to do something here that's going to help you to get past all that mental chatter, all that blah, blah, blah in your head that is just sitting back there and kind of running the show. I learned this method from my oldest son, Brett's first grade teacher. And oh boy, I will tell you that, first of all, when I found out that he had this teacher for first grade, I was like, what? No, I was so sad because I wanted him to be in this other class where most of his friends were, and tried to control the situation, which clearly I had no business doing, and I couldn't control it. And always things turn out to be a blessing in disguise, right? And this was absolutely no different because that first grade teacher turned out to be the best person, not only for my son, but for me as well. I learned a very valuable lesson that day. I was a parent helper. So I would go into the classroom once a week and I would help. And one day I'm in there correcting, word choice. Don't really like the word correcting, especially when it's associated with first grade. So let's soften that a little bit. I was circling the words. Let's use the word circling the answers. And I noticed that the words I was looking at were far more advanced than the ones that my daughter had just 2 years before. And I thought, what's going on with this? So I asked the teacher, what's up with this? Why do they have these words? Did they change this? Did they change the curriculum? And I will never, ever, ever forget how she responded because it was so perfect. Now, these were those words, the need to know words that children have to learn in first grade in order to go on to second grade. So you had to understand things like simple, it's, is, the, and then the harder ones were like there, these, that kind of thing. So she looked at me and she said, Kim, Children's minds are like sponges. I figure if I work backwards, when we are close to the end of the school year, I won't be competing with their thoughts of summer because by that time, they will know the more difficult words and they'll have a much easier time spelling the simple words. So they'll all pass. No problem. So good. So good. So what's the lesson for you? There's really 3 lessons here. I'm going to help you understand what these lessons are so that you can start to take committed action, believe in your own self, and go after your dreams. The first lesson is to tackle the hardest tasks first. So when you sit down to get something done and your mind comes up with all those reasons not to do it or why it's so hard, blah, 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 you can just say, I got this. I am fully capable of completing whatever it is. Fill in the blank. I am fully capable of writing this speech. I am fully capable of completing this business plan. I am fully capable of making 3 appointments. Always in the positive, always with I am. The words I am are incredibly powerful. The words I am are self-affirming. They harness the power of your subconscious mind and they help you to reframe your thoughts and your beliefs. So I am fully capable. I am on my way. Notice the way that these statements are phrased. It's not, I am a millionaire or I am a New York Times bestselling author. It's a little softer. It's, I am on my way. I am fully capable of becoming a millionaire. I am fully capable of being a New York Times bestselling author. Why? Because your mind is smart. And if the statement isn't true, your mind's going to go, BS. That's not true. That's not who you are. So you always want to soften it a bit by adding the words like, I'm on my way. I'm in the process. Eventually, you're going to be able to say, I am a millionaire. And your mind is no longer going to reject it. But you want to soften it first. Second step, you want to talk to yourself positively, consistently. I always talk to myself. I have friends that will look at me or my kids and they will smirk and say, you talking to yourself again? And I'm like, heck yeah. I'm cheering myself on. I'm like, you got this. You can do this. I'm going to get this right now. It's coming through. I'm going to get it. I'm going to understand it. It's all coming through to me right now. I got it. And then the third step, this is a little more involved, but it works. Think of one thing, one main thing that you want to achieve. Could be financial, could be business related, health, relationship, whatever it is. Pick one thing. And then create a positive statement about it. Record it in your own voice. Record it. Add some music if you want. And then I want you to play it over and over again to yourself. You can even speed it up because let's say you speed it up to 1.5 times normal speed. Your mind's still going to grasp it. And psychologists have proven that listening to your own voice out loud forces you to slow down your thoughts and process them differently because we engage the language centers of our brain. And when you hear your own voice, you become more deliberate with your word choice. It helps you to process your emotions instead of just shoving them aside and allowing all these other thoughts to come into your mind. You don't want to be bombarded by that. So we want to record your voice. Now remember, how you write this statement is important. You want to keep it simple. You want to keep it in the present tense and something that your mind will accept. It's hard for your mind to accept statements like, I'm a multimillionaire. I'm a New York Times bestselling author. It's hard for it to accept that because your mind's going to say, if it isn't true, your mind's going to say, no, you're not. And then boom, there you go. All that negative gremlins, all that mental chatter, it's all going to start rising up again. So we're going to sidestep that. We're going to sidestep them by saying things that your mind can actually accept as reality. So if it's the million you're focused on, we're going to try a statement like, I'm so happy and grateful that I'm on my way to making millions of dollars for the work I do, or for the service I provide, or for the knowledge I share. When you soften it a bit like this, your mind cannot reject it as not true. It's positive and it's affirming. Your words have tremendous power, and they have been running like a script in the back of your mind for years. So let's use the words that are going to lift you up, the words that are going to empower you to step into the version of yourself that is fully capable, that calls upon the genius inside and knows, absolutely knows, that you can and will realize your dreams. No matter how tough things may seem sometimes, there's always a silver lining, always a silver lining. And there is a part of you, even if it's just this small part. Remember, you only have to have faith as small as the grain of a mustard seed. Even if it is a small part that always knows the way forward, always has the solution, and it's always cheering you on. And if you ever have a hard time finding that version of yourself, just know that I'm here. I'm right here in your corner. I'll be here cheering you on always, always. Look in the mirror, smile at yourself, give yourself a tap on your back. I had a friend that used to always say to me, pat yourself on the back and say, good job, you did it, good job. And use your name, good job, Kim, you did it. Because your words have power. And when you hear your voice, it becomes even more powerful. Always remember that you were born on purpose, with purpose. You have the ability to achieve your dreams. Give yourself a high five, pat yourself on the back, and go get them. Thanks so much for joining me on this episode, and stay tuned for another episode of Shift or Get Off the Pot.